G'day folks, once again Griff the fabricator has struck. You know, it's funny, I was fluffing around, I'll show you before we get started on my little modded pickup. I was fluffing around, this is the original one off it, and there's on a forum, you can mod these. Basically the standard setup by they've got like a shield that comes across, and that's sort of halfway for some reason, and then they've got slots. Well, there's a gap underneath, and it sort of, I don't know why they've done that. There's a reason to it, I suppose. But what you can do is you can take that off and then find some steel mesh that's similar to what was on there originally. Fit it all back up in the lip, crimp it all back down, and then thread a spring in there. And what it does, it lifts the the mesh away and gives you a bit of like a dome effect. I couldn't find any mesh. I was asking around everywhere for it, not the right stuff that I really wanted. And I got looking at it, now what a bit of rubbish. It's okay in standard form, but to me that's just a bit of junk. And this is what you end up having to do, guys. You have to take it on your own hands and say, right, I'm going to fabricate my own. And I've done it. It's fantastic, guys. I'm just so thrilled with it. It all came to me there a few days ago. I thought about it, and this is what it calls for. You've just got to go out on a limb and have a go. And that's what it's all about. I'll show you guys. I'll take it off, and I'll give you a little look at it. I tell you, I am so glad I bought that MIG over the TIG. I was going to buy a TIG, but I thought, for what I do, I think a MIG is probably more versatile. I'm not into stainless steel welding, aluminium and all that. I just want to be able to do basic fabrication. And what do you reckon of that? For a guy that's probably only had a couple hours on the MIG overall, I've gone through one D-size bottle of argon, maybe a third of a roll of wire. This is 1.6mm thick, and it's not too bad. Solid, it's not going to go anywhere. Yeah, look at that. Oh God, I love it. What I did, guys, I had to extend it down sort of 20mm, and I ended up welding the pipe on first. Then I welded the top on. I didn't have this sort of welded up, just this top. And what that enabled me to do then is to put the die grinder up in there once I had it all welded, and just sort of clean it out. If there was any lumps sort of punched through or whatever, I could give it a good clean out, and then I radiused the hole and made sure that was fine. And I had the box already pre-made, and then I just welded the lid on around it. And it's come up really well. Look at all them eighth holes, hundreds of them in there. And then I went through with a 1/4" bit, and I sort of, what would you call that, countersunk it a little bit, radius those, every hole. So it, you get a nice bit of flow through it. And I did the same on the other side, but not as much. It's basically just to clean the swarf up, all the dags. And I cleaned him all up, and yeah, on the inside, make sure there's no contaminants in there. That's fantastic, guys. I'll pop him back on and I'll show you how much. Oh, there's another trick too, I forgot. Another tip, when you mount this back to the block, often, more than not, they bend up a little bit, like sort of up. And what that does, creates an air gap either side, and you don't want that. So the idea is, don't try and bend it flat again, but file it. File it flat. And if you can do that, you'll get a nice seal again. So, little tip there. So, you don't want to be sucking air in. Last thing you need. If you've gone to all this trouble doing a beautiful job on your pickup or modding whatever you got, and then you've got a bloody air gap up in here, yeah, defeats the purpose. Geez, just giving me the confidence now, guys, to really... I feel I could probably tackle anything. You know, I've got basic stuff, but... Yeah, another thing too, guys. Here, you see, when I folded this up, I put a score on the inside of it with the real thin discs. You know, sort of halfway through the material, and that enabled me to get a beautiful fold. Oh, yeah. And, you know, I've got no fancy tools. So, it's just all about knowing the little tricks and having a go, learning. And when you've got the passion and want to do that, it's amazing what you can do, guys. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have shared the same passion as I do and can do all this sort of stuff. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, God, I'm wrapped with it. I'm stoked. I'll show you how much clearance I've got too. I'm on cloud 9 at the minute, guys, because I know this is the last of the modification stage 1. I've got stage 2 coming up, but that's for the other motor. And on that, we're going to actually dive into the engine and do some priority oiling mods to it. This one I haven't. I just want to evacuate the oil build up in the heads, extra capacity, and with my extended pickup, so my modded pickup, my modded sump, and my scavenge pump, getting rid of the oil out of the heads rather than sending it back through the engine, like I've talked before, and fluffing it up with the crank. You'll still get some oil come back through the heads, there's no doubt about that, but if I can get the majority of it via the scavenge pump, I think that's going to be a great win in my book. Alright, now we've got to allow for gasket as well, but I'm shooting for around 12 to 15 sort of mil. And I've achieved it. Look at that, guys. We'll probably gain a couple of mil, 3 mil for the gasket, and I'll allow that. So we'll come up 1, 2, 3, there you go. And I reckon I've got nearly a 15 mil gap. Standard application, they recommend 8 to 10. For me, I felt 15's just spot on because I do want a little bit of clearance under the sump, before the floor of the sump. Enables a good flow because I've got a lot deeper oil now. I can afford just to come up away a little bit, and that'll really encourage the oil to flow into the pickup. So, and I've got my nice, what do you call it, like a band around the pickup itself on the sump, and it's got slots and holes and everything in it, so you can, if the oil gets moved around, it's going to be sheltered a little bit or stop it from sort of building up too much pace in there and getting sloshed around. So that's another thing I've done. So yes, and this will act as a little bit of a baffle too, guys, you know, because it's 100 mil by 100 mil, so it's a fairly reasonable size. And I think she's going to be a ripper. I can just feel it. All this hard work and time and effort and thought, I think is really going to pay off, guys. And I can't wait to show you guys once I get out on the track and we record the old oil pressure gauge and we keep an eye on it and see how she travels. That's fantastic. Once I put the motor back in, I'm going to do that trick I did with the other sump. Fin it out with strips of aluminium. I'm not sure if I'll do it underneath because now that I've gone a little bit lower with this, but I'll definitely do the sides all around here. And I think that really helps, guys. There's a bit of madness in my method there because we only do sort of 4 to 6 laps of racing, but if you can come back in and get a bit of airflow going through it, whether you put a fan on underneath the car or a windy day, whatever, coming through the garage, which often is the case down there, it's just going to pull temps out of your oil while it's sitting here. So I think it's a win, and I think we're well on the way, guys, to an incredible thing. Alright, well that's enough of my rambling and my little talk. I've got some other vids I want to share with you. God, I'm feeling really pumped, guys. I really am. So hopefully I'll get the motor in the next week, maybe. See how we go. Unfortunately, I've got to go back to work tomorrow and earn a bit more money. That's the life. Do a play and then back to work to earn it again. So yeah, it'll be alright. I'm very happy. Alright folks, well I hope you've had a good Easter and everyone's safe and enjoyed the time with their families, because that's what it's all about, guys. Family. This sort of stuff comes second, but it's very important. But families first, and all our loved ones. Alright guys, well stay safe, and I'll catch you very soon.